This is the military version. This gets really confusing because the Jeep was such a popular vehicle that there was civilian and military spec. Now the military spec, this is the post-war military spec, which was uprated, and then of course we have the M38A1 and all sorts of other variants. However, one thing we can tell you is that the Jeep really started the whole four-wheel drive light utility scene, if you like, and indeed it was upon an ex-wartime Jeep that the Wilkes brothers, Spencer and Morris, who were running Rover at the time, based their prototypes for the very first Land Rovers. The Land Rover, incidentally, was not seen as something particularly exciting for battlefield use by the Army to their champs, because apart from anything else, the champ cost an awful lot of money, except rather embarrassingly they then discovered that the champ wouldn't do anything that a Land Rover couldn't do, and more to the point was a lot more expensive, and I have to say a lot more unreliable. The transmission in particular has a tendency to eat back axles. A number of special purpose military Land Rovers were produced. You see the Air Portable in front of us at the moment. The Air Portable in this case, the fitted for radio version, fitted for wireless, 24 volt, 90 amp alternator under the bonnet. This was the on-road recovery vehicle, fitted with the motor panel type of cab. The Scammell Crusader basic vehicle with an unlit recovery. There were a couple of these, incidentally, always used to operate with the old nuclear missile convoys that used to run the warheads up and down the Faz Lane. The idea being, obviously, if anything broke down, they wanted to clear it as quick as humanly possible. Both commercial and car dealers. Chariot type of recovery body, although again there is space for those rear wheels. They built this ramp, and just so that we can demonstrate to you at this and other ramps the claim for having at least planted the seed of the idea if nothing else. There was a general service version as well, and in common with the Morris Commercial MRA1, which was a similar type of a vehicle, these were also very popular with local garages post-war for conversion into recovery vehicles. You have a country garage, it's very handy to be able to get a four-wheel drive chassis very cheaply at the time from the disposal depot at Ruddington in Nottingham was a great famous place that an awful lot of these vehicles were cast from service at. Towards the end of World War II, one of the problems logistically that the Allies had was getting stores in and out of France, because obviously the railway lines had all been destroyed. The solution was the Red Ball Express, very often in Rutland, and you'd see sort of half a dozen FV432 armoured personnel carriers coming down the road towards you, worrying enough in itself, and then you realise they'd all got L plates on, which is even more worrying. Now, parked up opposite, we have the diesel-powered scimitar, fitted with the 30mm Raven cannon. That's the sand-coloured light tank. Again, one of the CVRT Combat 1992 Gap. Started life was a 3-3 tractor unit. They're uprated to 400. That never actually built an 8x4 DAF 95, so this vehicle was extended. There were 5 metres, best part of 16 foot in real measurement, put into the chassis, and the double drive rear axles actually come from a later constructor, a similar vehicle to the first Mainland vehicle we saw here. The train weight now runs at 80 tonnes train weight. It's got a Dyson body with a Canadian crane and underlift damage-free recovery system fitted. It's got a dead weight of 29 tonnes. It's got 2 £3,000 winches and a 3-stage boom. That vehicle was the chassis upon which the largest of the polar bears was fitted for His Holiness's visit. Still fitted with its pump unit, now being used as a ballast tractor in its retirement. Petroleum rate incidentally requires a firewall between the cab and the rear, and also on the front mount exhaust. Following on in the livery of what was one of the later BRS liveries, in fact the MAN. Very rare to see one of these in preservation, but you see now dating from 1979, 1980, very even rarer to see one of these on the road. These tractor units tend not to have that long a life. Is followed by the Bedford OB coach of 1948, belongs to Connie Barton Banbury. Supplied new to a small operator in the Winchester area. These were in fact very popular coaches with the rural operators, often used for dual purposes. They'd be used on a stage service locally during the week, but for excursion work as well. And also converted into a motorhome when it was travelled all over Europe. The current owner bought it in Portugal and drove it back. It's had 5 years of restoration back to original spec. Now, the bark of the Comma TF Charger rather gives this vehicle away. In its original livery from, now I have to get this right, it's Mulgai, isn't it, the pronunciation I believe, was driven all the way down from Scotland, belongs to Royal Mail of Daventry. It was a purpose-built breakdown recovery truck all its life. Was built in Scotland, not done the way you might expect, with all new parts supplied by a main dealer. The three-cylinder engine actually has 6 pistons, so you've got a horizontal three-cylinder drive her down from Glasgow to Daventry when you report. The Leyland Hobbit now with the Jennings horse-box body fitted. Jennings of Sandbach up in Cheshire. Leyland, of course, of Preston in Lancashire. Another ERFB series, this one with a 14-litre Cummins 250. That sounds like the BBMF. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think they'll do another couple of passes possibly. The Spitfire and Hurricane of the Battle of Britain Memorial flight now running some 5 minutes early. Well, I can see them banking round, so I strongly suspect that they'll be back in just a moment, keeping beautiful formation as usual. I really don't want to spoil the sound, so we'll just stay silent for a moment or two so we can enjoy the sound of those engines.